Hi, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 13 also. Shiloh. Chapter 13. I'm back to not sleeping again. Everything I can think of to try, I've already thought on and turned down. Even thought of Dad and me driving to Milburn and going to the county courthouse to report a man who's mean to his dogs, thinking maybe they wouldn't let Jed Travers have Shiloh back again. Dad says, that's where we'd have to go, all right. But how am I going to prove it about Judd? Think about that, he says. I've been thinking about it. Do I really suppose they'd send an investigator all the way out from Milburn to see about a man said to kick his dogs? And if they did, do I think Judd's going to tell the man yes? Indeed, he does kick them. Do I think the investigator's going to hide out in the bushes near Judd Travers' place for a week just to see for himself? No. Tyler County hasn't hardly got the money to investigate reports of children being kicked, Dad says, much less dogs. Even if I told the animals' rights people that I found a dog with a bullet hole in its head up near Judd's house, don't prove that Judd was the one who killed it. I go out to talk to Dad about it some more while he's chopping wood, and he says, son, it's hard, I know, but sometimes you just got to do what has to be done. It's Judd's dog, and there's no getting around it. Ma tries to make me feel better. She says at least I brought some joy and kindness into the life of a dog that never had any before, and that Shiloh will never forget me. But that even makes it worse. Wish he could forget. Keep thinking of how Shiloh's going to look at me when we drive him over to Judd's, and my eyes fill up again. Becky, she's been crying too, and so is Darylyn. The one good thing about it now is that the whole family loves Shiloh, and we can talk about him out loud. But there's not one thing we can do. 3 more days, and we have to give him up. I walked down to Friendly on Friday to talk with David Howard. David feels almost as bad as I do. I hardly finished telling him about Shiloh, and he's got tears in his eyes already. David Howard's 30 pounds heavier and bigger than me, and he still don't care who sees him cry. I've been thinking, David, I say. You got relatives in Ohio, don't you? He nods. You think any of them would take Shiloh? Could you call him and ask, and then we could drive him down here tomorrow and take him back with them, and I'll tell Judd we let Shiloh out one day and he never came back. More lies. But David's shaking his head already. It's only Uncle Clyde and Aunt Pat, and she's allergic to dogs. They had one once and had to give him up. On the way back home, I'm thinking about someplace really good I could hide that dog. The old gristmill, maybe, up by the bridge. The door is padlocked, but it don't take much to get in because the top of the building's open or some of the roof's blown away. I bet I could hide Shiloh in there for 10 years, and he'd never make a sound. But what kind of life is that? Couldn't never take him anywhere except after dark. And even then, he'd be so close to Judd's place, the other dogs would probably sniff him out. Slowly, the minutes and hours of Friday tick by. Then it's Saturday and our last day with Shiloh. We give him every little treat we can think of, and a wonder we don't make him sick. And after supper, we sit on the back porch like we usually do. Becky and Darylyn are rolling around in the grass, and Shiloh limps out there to join in the fun. I show Becky how if you lay down on your stomach with your arms up over your face, Shiloh will work to turn you over. Both girls have a try at it, and Shiloh does just like I said, trying his best to get those girls up on their feet. If Becky ever fell in the creek, I'll bet Shiloh would pull her out, Ma says. If I ever saw a snake, I bet Shiloh would kill it for me, said Darylyn. I got a sadness inside me growing so big I feel I'm about to burst. That night, I sleep just a little bit, and then I wake up, and then I sleep a little bit more, and then I wake up. About dawn, however, I know what I got to do. I get up quiet as I can. As soon as Shiloh hears me, of course, he's out of his box. Shh, Shiloh, I say, my fingers to my lips. He watches me a moment and then crawls back into his box, good as ever. I dress and pull on my sneakers and take me a slice of bread from the loaf on the counter and a peach off the tree in the yard, and then I take the shortcut through the east woods toward Judge Travers's. It's the only thing left to do. I'd talk to Dad, and to Ma and to David, and nobody got any more ideas what to do than they did before. What I'm fixing to do is talk to Jed Travers straight and tell him I'm not going to give Shiloh back. Rehearse my lines so often I can say them by heart. What I don't know, though, is what Jed's going to say, what he's going to do. I'll tell him he can beat me, punch me, kick me, but I'm not going to give up that dog. I'll buy Shiloh from Jed, but if he won't sell and come to get him, I'll take Shiloh and head out in the other direction. Only way he can get the dog back is to take me to court, and then I'll tell the judge how Jed treats his animals. Halfway through the woods, I'm thinking that what I'm about to do could get my dad in a whole lot of trouble. Around here, it's serious business when you got a quarrel with your neighbor and you got to carry it as far as the law. Folks ain't that fond of Jed, and most of them likes my dad. But when it comes to taking a man's property, I figure they'll side with Jed. I'm not making life a bit easier for my parents or Darylyn or Becky, but I just can't give up Shiloh without a fight. Will he shoot me? That thought crosses my mind too. Some kid got shot down in Mingo County once. Easy as pie for Jed Travers to put a bullet hole in my head, say he didn't see me. I got my feet pointed toward Judge Travers's place though, and they ain't about to turn back. Still so early in the morning, the mist is rising up on the ground. And when I come to the stretch of field, it looks like the grass is steaming. The sky's light, but the sun hasn't shown itself yet. You live in hill country and it takes a while for the sun to rise. Got to scale the mountains first. I'm practicing being quiet. What I hope is to get to Jed's house before he's wide awake, taken by surprise. He sees me coming a half mile off without Shiloh. He's likely to figure what I got to say and have his answer already. I want to be sitting there on his porch the moment he gets out of bed. A rabbit goes lickety-split in front of me and then disappears. I went out hunting with Dad once, and he said that when you first scare up a rabbit, it hops a short way and then stops and looks back. That's when you got to freeze. Can't move nothing but your eyeballs, Dad says. What you have to look for is that shiny black dot, the rabbit's eye. And if you look for the whole rabbit, you almost never see him because he blends into the scenery. So I don't move a muscle, and I look for the shiny black dot, and there it is. I wonder what's going on inside that rabbit, if its heart's pounding fierce. No way I could tell I wasn't going to do it any harm. So I go on back into the second stretch of woods, heading for that second field. I'm just about to come out of the trees when I stop dead still again. But right there in the meadow is a deer, a young doe. She's munching on something, and every so often she stops and looks up, and then she goes on eating. Hardest thing in the world for me to see how anybody could shoot an animal like that. Then I think a couple of winters ago, we hardly had any meat on our table, and I guess I can see how a father with 3 kids could shoot a deer. Hope I never have to, though. I'm just about to step out into the meadow when crack! It's the sound of a rifle. It splits the air and echoes back against the hills. The doe takes off across the meadow, heading for the woods. Its front legs rear up, and then its back legs as it leaps. Its tail a flash of white. Crack! Rifle sounds again, and this time the deer goes down. I can't move. One part of me wants to go to the deer, and the other part knows that somebody's out here with a rifle shooting deer out of season. And before I can decide whether to go on or turn back, out of the woods on the other side steps Jed Travers, rifle in hand. What's Marty gonna do now?